Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, friends. Welcome to another episode of the Marketing Your Practice podcast. Let me start with this. I feel so damn happy today. I feel productive. I feel grateful. I don't know what it is. It's sunny skies outside. I've had a beautiful week of dealing with some great practitioners from around the world. I get to coach a wonderful Chinese med practitioner at the moment over in Amsterdam who's making great videos. I've got chiropractors in Spain making amazing videos, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and I'm really inspired by the great stuff that they're doing. I feel happy to be a chiropractor. I feel happy to be talking with you guys each and every week. In today's episode, I'm going to talk to you about 5 things to think about if you hate being on camera. And let me start with this. Most of us, at one time or another, really hate being on camera. Being on video doesn't necessarily come easily. But if you listen to this podcast, you're probably interested in the idea of how do I reach more people? How do I have more impact? How do I have more influence? How do I have more income? All of those things, impact, influence, income, they're all really good things to be thinking about as well. But many of you reach out to me and say, I like the idea of making videos, Angus. I'm an introvert. I hate being on camera, all those kind of things. So if that's you, then today's episode is really for you. Now, if maybe you're a step ahead of that, maybe you're making some videos already, but it's really hard for you to kind of get the courage up each and every time. It's an enormous effort. Then these 5 things might help give you a little bit of a push along to get you making more videos, because consistency is the key. The more videos that you make, the more people who know, like, and trust you, the more impact, influence, and income that you have. Anyway, that's enough about that stuff. Let's work our way through 5 things to think about if you really struggle with video, if you hate being on video, all those kind of things. I'm going to start with this, okay, to begin with. No one's good at it to begin with. Now, I have now coached hundreds, maybe even thousands, in some form or another, thousands of practitioners from around the globe on how to make videos. I'm yet to meet a person that nails video right from the beginning. Now, I can say that with absolute confidence. I've been teaching this stuff in a really focused way for 5 years, and each and every week I'm reviewing lots of videos. No one nails it from the beginning. Now, I reckon one of the challenges that we might have is that we're used to, firstly, the videos that we see that end up on the social media platforms, the stuff we're watching on Netflix, the things that we're watching on television or at the cinema, are these beautifully produced videos. No one ever puts up their mistakes. Interestingly though, when I do put up my mistakes in a blooper reel, you guys love it. So I don't know why we're so scared of sharing our mistakes, but we have these unreasonably high standards. Now, making videos, like many things, many important things in life anyway, it's difficult, but it's a skill worth pursuing. I'm going to talk about that right at the very end there as well. But we need to understand that really it's practice that what it takes. When we see Mel Gibson absolutely nail a scene from Braveheart, when we look at our favourite, I've been watching some Robin Williams stuff recently, Good Will Hunting and Dead Poet Society, and to think of the journey that he came from as a comedic actor, a stand-up comedy person, stand-up comedian, that's the word I'm after there too. See, there you go, I just fumbled and I left it in there. You will still hear even this fumble. I could edit it out, but I'm not going to. But the journey that he's gone through came from hundreds, probably thousands of hours of practice. Yet for some reason, we think that we can turn the camera on and that we can be ace at it right away. So you need to get rid of that out of your mind there too. Now, that being said, here's the good news, gang, is that the imperfect video that you make will always outperform the perfect one that you never do. If it's perfection that you're after, you'll never get it done. I'm going to talk about that at the moment too. So first thing to think about this, no one's good at it to begin with, okay? Think about, for those of you that are chiropractors out there, how difficult it was when we first had to deliver our first adjustment. Now, some of us were better at it than others, but I felt proud or quite competent with my adjusting skills at college, but it was really 10 years before I felt like I was really, really good at it. Driving the car, all those kind of things. They take time, they take practice. So be easy on yourself, okay? You're not going to nail it straight away. A couple of practices, work your way through the frustration. You will get there in the end. Thing number 2 to think about. If it's not about you, if we're making videos and our focus is really just about more income in my practice and bringing in more new patients, all of those kind of things, getting famous, Insta famous, 5 mile famous, whatever you want to think about there too, you're going to have a real hard time to push through some of the difficulties. The real reason that we market is about the people in our community. you and I, as health and wellness practitioners, have a solution that makes a difference to people each and every week. It's part of the reason why I can't let go of damn practice twice a week. I don't have enough hours in my week. I do. I've got plenty of hours, same number as you there too. But I have lots of things that I could be doing. But I go into practice still twice a week because it just still blows me away at how people's lives change when I deliver a really simple, focused adjustment with love. So we have these things. We have these gifts to offer our community. And when we're making our videos because we want to make more of a difference, it comes through. Now I've read different kind of numbers of this, but everybody pretty much agrees that the vast majority of communication that happens is not in the words that I'm saying. It's in the tone, it's in my body language, it's in all of those kind of things there. And so when the intent behind our videos is to find people in our community and make a difference to their life, it really shines through. And that way, our videos don't have to be perfect because they're not about us. And people can see through that this person here is genuine, they're authentic. And so if our videos are focused about serving our community as opposed to serving ourselves there too, that in many cases really helps us to move forwards. We know from a behavior change point of view that we'll do a heck of a lot more to help another person than we will ourselves. We often hear, it amazes me, my mother, who always was a smoker for a long, long time, had many times where she had difficulty giving up smoking, but when she got pregnant with each of her 3 kids, she gave up in a heartbeat while she was pregnant and while she was breastfeeding. Now, she started back after that again, and that passive smoke probably wasn't good for us. But she said it was really easy for her to give up the cigarette smoking because it wasn't about her. So when we stop making the videos about us, when you stop thinking about how you look on the camera, do I have the right equipment, where do I shoot my videos, all those kind of things, and instead you think, you know what, today's video I'm going to really help somebody. This video is going to make a difference to somebody who might be having fertility issues, immune issues, might be suffering from headaches, migraines, sciatica. When you go in with that intent, man, it shows through. And that's the kind of intention behind our videos that often makes us move through what is uncomfortable. Thing number 3 to think about here as well is stop telling yourself you're a perfectionist. And when I say we, I mean me. I've used the perfectionist excuse for a long time. I've just got high standards. I need to have the right equipment. We'll talk about that in a moment. I need to make sure that it's perfect, every word that I'm saying. I've got to make sure that I look okay. Now, again, if you're watching this on video, some of you, on my right cheek here, I've got the world's most enormous pimple. I'm 45 years of age. What am I doing with a pimple? Like, this is a beauty here that, I haven't had one of these since I was 16, but it's popped up. I think it's probably mask related, hot, sweaty, all that kind of stuff there too. Now, I could have hidden it. Not only did I not hide it, I've now pointed it out to you. Maybe you wouldn't even have seen it before if you're listening to this on the podcast. Imagine on my right cheek, a big old red nasty pimple. But we look for perfection in stuff, and we tell ourselves that it's all about really high standards, this is what we want to do, and we want to come across looking great and all those kind of, and there's a level of, let's not confuse perfectionism for excellence. I'm all for excellence. I love excellence, and excellence goes back into what I was talking about right back up there at point number 1, and that is about practice. But perfectionism, really what perfectionism is about, here's my take on it anyway, is that perfectionism is really all about fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of being seen. And so instead we hide under this umbrella that I'm just trying to get it perfect, when really we're just scared. And I want you to know that it's okay. And I think there's, I listened to a great guy, his name is Ben Crow. I've been loving his stuff recently. He's sports psychologist, mentor type sort of marketing character. I don't know how you would kind of put him under. It's not important there too. He says there's 2 antidotes for perfectionism. He says the first one is to really embrace our imperfection. He showed a couple of different clips. One of them was from Justin Timberlake. Another one was Ed Sheeran, talking about as young kids growing up there too, how different they were to everybody else. They were teased, they were bullied, all those kind of things. And at a time when they were growing up, what looked imperfect ended up being absolute musical genius in both of these guys. And the list goes on and on about these people who were different, thought that they were different there too, yet managed to embrace their imperfection. And that's what leads to this authenticity. So, antidote number 1 to that perfectionism is embrace your imperfection. Antidote number 2 that Ben talks about there is we need to constantly remind ourselves that we're enough. And this is tricky because we have a world, and particularly a marketing and advertising world, that's constantly insinuating in one form or another that we're not enough. It says, look, hey, if you buy this car, you'll be more intelligent, more sexy, more wanted, all those kind of things. You need this handbag, you need this house. So there's lots of things in life telling us that we're not enough until we get this thing. When the truth of the matter is that we are enough and we are worthy regardless. We've all done things that made mistakes. I make mistakes each and every day, each and every week from there too. But there's a difference from saying, I've done bad things as opposed to I am a bad person. Now, this is something that requires repetition and constantly investing back into ourselves and watching our language that we're saying inside, but to constantly remind ourselves, I'm enough, I'm enough. And if you need to hear it from me, then I'm looking at you right now into the screen and I want to tell you, you're damn well enough. You're worthy. Okay, and when we leap from that base, when we embrace our imperfections and we start to make our videos about serving our community rather than serving ourselves, stuff gets damn excited. Like, I'm excited just thinking about it now, that there's hopefully some of you out there listening to this right now that says, yes, I can be imperfect. I can be authentically me. I can remind myself that I'm enough. And I've damn well got a message that I want to share. I've got people in my community who need my help. I can help them. They don't know about me. Hey man, I'm going to get my phone out. I'm going to shoot some videos and I'll make a difference there as well. So thing number 3 to think about, stop telling yourself that you're a perfectionist. Remember, really, what it's about is it's about failure. And that's okay. That's totally okay. Thing number 4 to think about, I hope I'm right on my numbers here. They're in a kind of funny order on my piece of paper through here as well. Stop telling yourself it's about the technology, that you need to get fancy cameras, that you need to get microphones, that you need to get a studio, that you're waiting for the new iPhone 12 to come out, 13, 14, whenever you're listening to this too. The good news is the best camera to use is the one that you have on you. I've been making videos on iPhone 6s, 7s, 8s, you name it, all the way through there too. The kind of camera that we need to use is the one that you have with you. We don't need fancy cameras. We don't need fancy backgrounds. The great news is that there has been a real journey and an evolution inside a video where really what we're looking for is real and authentic. There was a time that the kind of videos that used to get the most engagement were those videos that were really highly produced, fancy backgrounds, multiple cameras. And even though this podcast, I'm shooting with a couple of different cameras and stuff here there too. But remember, I'm years down the track. I didn't start off with all of this kind of stuff. And still, to date, the videos of mine that often get the most engagement are handheld, selfie-style videos with my iPhone. That's what your community wants because it allows them to connect with you. Technology is not the reason that you're not making videos. You have better access to great technology now than when I did when I started making videos over a decade ago. It's never been easier than what it is right now for you to make these wonderful heart-centered videos that position you as an authority, an expert, a leader in your community and connects you with people there as well. Thing number 5, the final thing I want to talk about today, if you hate being on camera, if you're stopping yourself from making videos, I want to remind you that video is the most powerful form of media on the planet and that you should ignore it at your peril. Now, I don't want to kind of get all scarcity on you from here too, but some things are just so damn important. And when you start to think back through the other things we've talked about, that video is not really about you, it's about making a difference to your community. That when we step into embracing our imperfection, when we start to remind ourselves that I'm enough and we have a message that we want to share with our community, nothing at this stage does it better than video, does it better than podcast. And you're probably listening to this on a podcast at the moment, but when we have video, we get even more senses. Now, some of you will watch this podcast, some of you will just listen to it, but we can share so much through video, even more than we can through a podcast. And now is the time for you to be reaching out into your community and for you to be making a difference to their lives. Let me summarize those 5 things for you to be thinking about that get in the way. If you're telling yourself, I hate being on video, I want to remind you of this. No one's good at it to begin with. It absolutely takes practice, okay? Thing number 2 to think about, making videos is not about you. And if you make it about you, your videos won't be a success. Making a video is about serving your community. Thing number 3 to think about is stop telling yourself you're a perfectionist and that's what's getting in the way, when really, I'm going to call you out. You're scared of failure. You're scared of being seen, scared of being ignored. They're the things. And if that's you, then that's me too. I'm scared of all of those things also. And what I try to do each and every week is embrace my imperfection, as Ben talks about, and then remind myself that I am enough. Thing number 4 is stop using technology as an excuse. Okay, you're probably listening to this on a device right now that would shoot amazing video, better video than what I was shooting just a few years back on my fancy, expensive cameras. And the final thing I want to remind you, the most impactful, powerful form of media on the planet today, right now, is video. If you're not using it, you're risking becoming ignored and becoming invisible in your community. And the fact of the matter is your community needs you way too much for you to risk that. Gang, that's it for me today. As always, thanks for all that you do. Keep saving lives. I hope this has been helpful. Can I ask a favor? If you haven't already, head on over to your favorite listening device, whatever it is, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to listen to this to. Can you give me a star rating and a review? If this sucks, you can tell me that too. I'm up for that. I always want to learn how to be better. But if this has been helpful, give me a star rating. Let me know what you liked about the show too. That helps to encourage me, keep me enthusiastic, keeps me on track with creating great content for you. That's it. Until next time. Love you all lots. I really do. I'm not just saying that. I really love you all lots. See you later. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you have to come and check out the Community Influencer Program. It's my monthly coaching program where we take all this material and I'll work one-on-one with you to apply, implement, systematize, and help guide you and your practice to the next level. Now you can join me on over at adiomedia.com/join. That's adiomedia.com/join. I'd love to see you in there.